Well, another thing we have to educate our kids too on, though, is they have to have an understanding of white supremacy and how it works. Because if you understand white supremacy and how it works, you also understand how to defeat it. And part of achieving wealth is also understanding how to defeat white supremacy.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I just showed Dewey the list that I have on the screen right here. And first of all, what's your initial reaction of seeing that list and seeing where African Americans are placed?
In median household income?
Right.
I mean, damn. I mean, we're at the bottom.
Were you surprised when you saw that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's stunning. I can't say I'm totally stunned, but I mean, you gotta look at it. I mean, the thing is, man, the legacy of not only, 300 years of slavery, another 150 years of Jim Crow has had an impact. I mean, people don't realize that between the years of 1880 and 1920, blacks were able to build wealth. And we were able to do it without 40 acres and a mule, which Andrew Johnson removed after Lincoln's assassination. And even though the plantation owners who owned us and who sided with the Confederacy received reparations for that. Now, between 1880 and 1920, we were able to achieve wealth. However, that wealth was stripped from us through tax fraud, lynchings, and race riots. And so, if you look, and you can see that in cities like Tulsa, Atlanta with Auburn Avenue, Manhattan, Minneapolis had race riots where they stripped wealth from us. Florida, St. Louis, almost all these cities. So our wealth was stripped from us, and then the white community told us, pick yourself up by your bootstraps and rebuild that wealth during segregation and Jim Crow. So, in essence, it wasn't really until, and then after that, you had redlining, and you had housing covenants and things like that. So all the mechanisms used by white Americans and then white immigrants that came to America, all the mechanisms that they used to build wealth, we were not able to use. And so, it wasn't until the Fair Housing Act of 1968 that really we were able to build, some wealth. And if you look at it, the largest movement of African Americans from class to class occurred in the 70s. And that was as a result of the advances of the 60s. And then when Reagan became president, that all stopped.
All right.
So,
how do you propose, or what do you think we need to do to?
Well, I think the black community has to be more inward thinking now. I think what this election has taught us is that, our allies are limited. We do have allies, but they're limited. And that to build wealth now, I mean, look, we're going to have to, it has to be political power, but it also has to be utilizing our communities, because right now, all the mechanisms that we've used to build wealth are going to be stripped from us. And so, to be honest with you, outside, I'm trying to figure that out.
Right.
Yeah.
What I've been preaching to my friends is you got to be a homeowner. Number one.
You do.
You need home ownership. Then number two, from that, we need to educate our kids on policies like life insurance, setting up trust.
Yep.
To protect the stuff that we do have, educating our kids from that standpoint so that they know what they have and what they can gain or lose if they don't act accordingly.
Well, another thing we have to educate our kids too on, though, is they have to have an understanding of white supremacy and how it works. Because if you understand white supremacy and how it works, you also understand how to defeat it. And part of achieving wealth is also understanding how to defeat white supremacy. But the thing is, if the goalpost keeps moving, and I'm not saying use as an excuse, you have to understand it. I'm not saying you say, I can't do because of this. One thing at Morehouse, Mays was telling these students Mays always told them, he said, look, white folk are 300 years ahead of us. So that means you have to run faster.
But some are.
No, even the ones. So remember what Lyndon Johnson said when the Civil Rights Act was passed. He said, if you can convince the lowest white man that he's superior to the highest black man, you can pick his pocket for the rest of your life. Yeah. So the problem is this, it's not just that. I mean, I agree with everything you said, but if you still don't understand white supremacy, when you get slapped by it, you aren't going to know it. And like Byron Donalds in Florida has no understanding of white supremacy. So he feels like what he's become is a detriment to his community. So we want to also achieve our own success and our own wealth and whatever that means. But we also want to bring up our community as a whole.
But to me, it's not just about generating wealth, because most people in general aren't going to be wealthy.
I'm not saying wealth in terms of I'm going to be a billionaire. I'm saying what you want to do is you want to generate opportunities for the community. Once you get the opportunity, you want to figure out, okay, now how can I bring this back to my community?
Yeah.
And that's what we have to do. I think another part of what has happened to us is we've become selfish, to some degree. And that we're like, it's all about me. It's about me.
That's American culture.
It is American culture.
Yeah.
But the two are not
mutually
exclusive.
Correct.
Right. They're mutually inclusive.
Right.
You can be about both.
Right.
Right. And you can build your company and you can build wealth or what have you. And you can at the same time support policies, use your money to support things that also build up the rest of the community. Now, that doesn't mean the community doesn't have a responsibility to also help themselves.
Exactly.
You have to have that as well. But also, another issue we're having is in the poor community, there are so limited examples of Black success that is witnessed.
But I would disagree with that.
Who? Are you in the poor community?
No. I would say that the only examples that are magnified are athlete, rapper, entertainer, whatever. I was a mentor back in Dallas, and so we had to go to this school where, we're asking the kids, what do you want to be, this and that. 99% wanted to be a sports player or
a rapper.
Or a rapper.
Or a producer.
Or producer.
You know nothing about music.
Right.
Yes, you're right. So what we also have to do is we have to find a way to let kids that are in that environment see that there are examples of success beyond that.
Right.
You don't have to be, and we grew up with that, right?
Right.
Like I grew up with, I saw the athletes, but also saw guys like Lerone Bennett, who was editor of Ebony. I saw guys who were mayors of cities. I saw prominent doctors, prominent lawyers, all that. And so, and then also was fed well. So for me, yes, I had no excuse, right?
And so
I can sit there and say, like, the bigger picture is this, because I'm fed and I see it. But if you're not fed, and you don't see it in the only examples of success. Because remember, a lot of kids who grow up in urban areas, they don't see outside of a 2 to 3 block radius of where they live. That's kind of their whole world.
Right, but now they have social media, so they do.
Social media, but still. So even on social media, you're looking up what you want to look up. It's an algorithm. It's not like they're going to look up and they're going to say, you know what, today, let me look up Maynard Jackson. Right? That's not who they're looking up.
Yeah, they're not exposed to it yet.
Yes, you have to let them, you have to find a way to expose all of us culturally. Our kids and other kids.
I would also argue that this goes back to
that.
I would also argue that this goes back to the fact that sometimes John Smith kid growing up in a certain neighborhood, like, it's like we always swing for the fences. So like you say, prominent doctor or mayor of a city or whatever, publisher of a magazine. My point is that those are rare things. Those are still rare things. So my point to you is that having a mass of people swing for the fences
But you're not swinging for the fences. That's not swinging for the fences. It's saying, look, there are multiple avenues in which I can achieve success. It doesn't have to be one or two. It doesn't have to be being an athlete or being a entertainer. It could be that, you know what else it could be? It could be the fact that I don't even have a 4-year degree. Because not everybody needs a 4-year degree.
Yeah,
I think, you know, if you're an electrician, you make a lot of money.
Yeah.
You make a lot of money as a plumber.
Yeah.
You know, if you know how to fix if you know how to fix airline engines,
right?